How you doing, Connor? Good to see you again.
I'm really well, Stephen. Great to see you too. It's been a while.
It has indeed. So we're here today to talk about a new EU directive that is possibly going to have serious implications for skilled freelancers, the companies they work for, and also digital platforms.
Correct, Stephen. This is a fascinating topic and it's largely flown under the radar, so I can't wait to get under the bonnet with you today.
For people that maybe haven't saw any of the previous videos, would you mind just giving them a wee bit of your background?
Sure. My name's Heaney. I'm the Managing Director at CXC Global EMEA. I've been in the role now for the last 8 years, Stephen, and it's been a fascinating journey. We help some of the world's largest enterprises, fastest growing startups, and some of the world's leading platforms mitigate the risks around engaging independent contractors.
Thanks for that. So what would you like to talk about today then, Connor?
So, Stephen, I really want to speak today around the EU Directive on Platform Workers that was launched by the European Union in 2021. It's scheduled to come into effect in 2025. And this piece of legislation will have likely unintended consequences that will prove problematic for platform operators in Europe.
In what way, Connor?
The biggest challenge for digital labour platforms will be as follows, Stephen. Digital labour platforms will now automatically presume that their independent contractors are employees. And if you think about their current business model, it's really about engaging independent contract workers on a flexible basis. Currently, there's no employer cost, there's no social security, there's no taxation. The independent contractor bears that risk and responsibility. What this directive is now saying is that the platform must treat those workers as employees, and you can imagine that that's potentially very problematic. So let's look at the numbers, Stephen. As it stands, there's about 28 million independent workers engaged through platforms in Europe. By 2025, it's forecasted that there will be 43 million. The EU estimates that 5.5 million out of those workers are incorrectly classified as independent workers. So that gives you an idea of the scale and size of this problem.
It does sound pretty huge, Connor, but how does the digital platform have to take the responsibility of the classification?
That's the biggest problem. So typically in European Union states, as it stands today, workers don't have a formal status, right? It's not legally defined. So what this has sought to do, this EU directive has sought to put this on a legislative footing, put some governance and rules around this, and it puts the emphasis now on the platforms to really make that determination. Previously, that would have sat with the actual end user, but now it's the platform's responsibility to do so.
That sounds like it's a potential legal minefield, Connor. Has there been any cases in the past that relate to digital platforms?
Yes, Stephen, there has been, and it has been and is a legal minefield, which is precisely the reason as to why the directive came in. Previously, most of the decisions were made by the courts at a local level. So we've seen cases against Uber, for example, in the UK, Deliveroo in Belgium and Netherlands, and more recently Glovo in Spain, all around workers engaged via digital platforms and essentially saying those workers should be treated as employees. And what the EU directive has done is really put those on a formal footing so that the courts don't have to interpret local decisions anymore. So that's why we welcome this. Unfortunately, Stephen, it's been so widely drafted that it brings too many different types of platforms and companies into the scope and also potentially restricts labour market flexibility and freedom.
So with all these extra complications then, it's more rules and regulations for the platform?
Correct. The regulation burden or the cost of compliance has increased, we would suggest, exponentially if you're a digital labour platform. And to use what might be considered a trite phrase, it seems that the disruptors are now going to be disrupted because this directive has seismic consequences for how business is done.
So when you say digital platforms, Connor, would you mind me asking you to explain what they are?
Sure, Stephen. Best thing I could do is to simplify it and give some examples. So the best ones that I can think of are ride-hailing or taxi apps, food delivery apps, or indeed freelancer marketplaces where you might need, for example, a Canva done or a PowerPoint deck done or a piece of content marketing. Those are inside the scope of the EU Directive on Platform Workers.
So if I'm a digital platform, then where do I go from here?
Please come and talk to us at CXC and CXC Comply. We've built a platform that helps mitigate, regulate, reduce the complexities and risks of engaging independent contractors. And we've built that muscle memory of 31 years of business in CXC, where we've helped some of the world's largest organizations correctly classify their independent contractors. And we've built our platform not just for the EU Directive on platform workers, we've built it for IR35 in the UK, which launched in 2017 and more formally in 2021. We've also built it and launched it for AB5 in the United States, and we've also deployed it for the DBA legislation in the Netherlands. So we've got this and we've got you.
That sounds brilliant. So what's the best way to go about getting in contact with CXC?
Thank you, Stephen. Please contact me at connor.heaney@cxcglobal.com.
Brilliant. Thanks a million, Connor.
Thanks, Stephen. Great to see you.